Good morning. Good morning. I'm early, I know. This morning, I wanted to talk a little bit about how to win in trades. One of the things that you're going to hear me say a lot in the videos, the boring parts that most people don't like to hear, is that you have to understand yourself. And unfortunately, that's an endeavor that most of us don't want to do, but that's a very critical part of finding consistency. It's very hard for young men to encounter this, and they resist it. They want to hold the opportunity to blame someone else or something else as the outward interference to them succeeding, not them just simply not doing what's required or expected. And there's no shortcuts. And unfortunately, that turns off a lot of people because they want it right now, real quick and short to the point. And they discover, chasing other approaches or shorter methods that promise, profitability. They can't do it. Can't do it.
Let's talk about trade psychology a little bit. Now, trading is hard. Trading is really hard. And if you've been doing this for any length of time, I'm sure you've heard people say trading is 70% psychology and 30% strategy or technique. Some even say 90% psychology and 10% strategy technique. And I'd say those are actually both way off because it's definitely closer to 110% psychology and 0%, or with that math, negative 10% technique and strategy. Because psychology is ultimately what's going to make or break a profitable trader. How you deal with losing trades is going to be the one thing that will stop you from making money in this game. Now, obviously, my perspective is going to be limited, but I figure it's the perfect place to talk about it while it's fresh. Been doing this a couple years and still experiencing occasional negative emotions. And ultimately, if we think about the psychology of it, it's not dealing with wins. It's not dealing with the positive. We can deal with the positive all day long, although I guess there is a case for saying minimize it to a reasonable amount and keep your stoic nature as that should be in trading. But it's about dealing with the negative. It's about dealing with drawdown and revenge trading, and where does all that emotional upsetness come from? Over the last couple years, I've started to realize that for me, it's just from the fact that I haven't experienced it before. I think one of the largest pieces to be learned about psychology is the actual act of experiencing the emotions that are going to run through your head. Now, when you see the statement of 90% strategy or 90% psychology, 10% strategy, you look at it and you go, oh, okay, cool, I get it. Like, that's going to mean something. And you continue trading and looking at charts, back testing, and go about your merry way. And then you're sideswiped by a massive losing trade, and you want to throw the keyboard across the room because you haven't experienced it before. And you don't really know what that psychological aspect that traders are talking about actually is or feels like. And so, just like a football player learning how to play football, you have to experience the game. You have to play it. You have to be tackled. You have to run the ball, throw the ball, etc. In trading, you have to experience it all. You have to win some trades, you have to lose some trades, you have to have a good day, you have to have a bad day. You have to experience the emotions that come along with the psychology of trading. So the biggest thing I've learned is just doing it, just actively trading and being a part of the game and experiencing those emotions. And I kind of fell on it by accident, but the process of actually running through those negative emotions a little bit faster than, say, would have been natural by being a little haphazard in trades. Now, doing a demo account for me became certain point easy. I'm using ICT concepts, and once you have an entry technique, it's just cookie cutter. It's like this, bread and butter, so to speak. Making a demo account careen up is not a hard problem, but putting real money to the test is. And the move to a prop firm was the first experience of dealing with the real money. Well, I'd lost a little when I first got into the game, but nothing that I didn't realize I needed to stop before I learned more. And the prop firm allowed to start to feel that experience of losing real money. And I knew that it was time for me to experience real money losses when the demo was too easy. I just really didn't associate anything with it at all. And you're ready for the next step, real money. And the real money being traded started to open up a whole new can of emotional baggage, so to speak, and stuff you don't want in trading. And I realized that as I would go through them, I would come out the other side more zen, more calm, on little parts of it, piece by piece. It wasn't, I completely wiped out the feeling of drawdown in one session. No, I had to experience it and go for a walk and meditate on it and think about it to understand the parts of it I needed to process and attack and mentally work on in order to overcome that challenge. So I started to get to a point where it was like, let me be a little haphazard about my trading in allowing that emotion to hit me harder. If I'm as good as I think, or as good as I saw I could be in a demo, why can't I get it to a place here? And so I ran through a process of about a couple months of just kind of being a little more haphazard. Sure, let's see, let's blow the account if I've got to. If I have to, I want to feel this revenge trading. How painful is this? Yeah, it's painful. It sucks. Boom, there's another re-up and a re-up on the account. And ultimately, boom, start again. And I know if you're an ICT mentor as well, you've heard Michael talk about not being too lackadaisical about that, because it's not a game and you shouldn't completely associate that negative feeling with just being able to reset your account. But it definitely has allowed me to circumnavigate the length of time I would have need to have dealt with it otherwise. And I wouldn't say it's for everyone, but I would say that it helped me. And I stumbled on it a little bit by accident, and then I started to double down on it. And once I built the confidence for knowing how to recover from drawdown, that really allowed me to step up the next level and process each one of the next pieces I needed to in order to become profitable. Just gotta recollect my thoughts after my camera died. I'm not advocating pushing yourself too fast at the beginning. I think you need to experience it at the right time and the right speed for you. Don't allow yourself to get a negative fear built up about trading, but understand you need to experience the experience. You need to go through it. And if that means actually having some negative things and learning how to deal with them, then do it. Like a muscle tears and recovers, tear and recover. Get better and actually experience the negative psychological parts of trading. One, before you talk about it, and two, before you even think you understand what it's like. Then you can start to work better and find out how to overcome that challenge. I kind of want to sneak this in here at the end too about time, and it's obviously connected because like the experience of playing football and trading, it's time. You just have to experience it, time. Well, inside of ICT strategy is actually time is the most important factor. You know the windows of time when things should happen, and when you start seeing fractals on different levels and different scales, you start to understand what sessions things should happen. And this was a bit of a breakthrough the last, month or so, where realizing that my negative emotions about trade time, how long it would take for a trade to pan out, I hadn't fully associated with what the proper expectation was. Now, I like fast moves. Who doesn't? I'm more of a scalper, so who doesn't like things to move fast? You get in, you get out really quickly. I want to get out in 30 seconds if I can, but sub 30 minutes. Well, there's occasions when it's going to be closer to an hour, and you need to be ready for that. Or maybe you need to wait around to do nothing for an hour because your trade's not going to pan out until it's not even going to start. You shouldn't even enter until afternoon session. That understanding and realizing it, saying it now in hindsight seems so straightforward when you know that time is very important, especially from the perspective of knowing that in the teachings that Michael gives, I needed to go through a negative revenge trading session based on time, where my trade would have ultimately made out if I had have just given it the time it due respect or waited to get in later. I wouldn't have had to have dealt with the negative feeling of going sideways and seeing drops and rises and drops and rises. Realizing that wholeheartedly in its reality, in its totality, not in its like theory form of like, yeah, someone telling you and experiencing. Learn your trade times. How long should this trade take out if it is going to pan out? And if it goes beyond this time, should I get out and get back in? Should I wait? Or if it is going to take an hour, what am I worried about? Let's kick for an hour and then be upset later in an hour when it has to deal with. Don't be upset for an hour. Now, I don't know what that means if you ran other kinds of concepts, if you're running like simple averages and using other indicators. I don't know what that means, but I would still say that it is something related to, at a certain point, you want to understand how long a trade should take. If you're a scalper, you know you like to scalp, so then you know your trade should be this close. don't drag it out longer than it needs to be. If you know that that's too long for me, then don't do it. Don't get involved in situations where you know that clearly this is not the right one based on the time it's taking. I'm not a swing trader, so why am I waiting multiple days? Or why am I seeing this trade pan out over multiple days and being upset about it? Well, I can't trade those. I'm not a multi-day trader. Otherwise, go be a multi-day trader and then know that it's going to take a couple days and you can just go mill about and do your normal life without it. So I think ultimately, full circle, it's all time. I should have probably started there. It's all about time. Psychologically, trading and winning and coming out the other side is all about time. Taking the experiences, learning to overcome them takes time. And it's something as any trader you need to experience. I think that's about it. I think that's all I had to say on psychology. Those are the biggest things I've learned over the last couple of years, distilled down. I mean, obviously there's ways to deal with it, but yeah, I think I've learned a lot from those two aspects, or I guess really that main aspect, time. It all takes time. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Good luck, good trading.